Hello everyone. So the first thing we're going to do is click the text icon to create a text box. And you're going to input any sort of text. For this example, I'm going to input button because this video we are creating buttons. You're going to select the box and on your keyboard press Shift A to add auto layout. And then you're going to adjust the padding in the auto layout panel to the right, and you'll see that I'm adjusting those totals over in those fields. You're going to style the default button by adding a color and border radius. To add a color, as I'm sure you already know, you're going to select the fill. I'm sorry, I was going to say field, but you're going to select the fill. And I had actually already found a green color that I liked. So you'll notice that I adjust that hex code here. And let's see. So next, after you style your button by adding the color and a border radius, you're going to turn the button into a component. So you're going to click the component icon at the very top, and you're going to rename it to primary button. You'll notice I'm doing that on the left. Back at the top, you're going to click the variance icon, and you're going to click the plus icon to add as many variants as you need. For this example, I am creating 6. You're going to go over to the properties panel on the right, and you're going to rename the property to state because we are creating button states. And you're going to rename the values. Since I've created 6 variants, they are default, hover, active, disabled, loading, and finally focused. And I'll explain a little bit about what each of those mean. And while I'm doing that, you'll notice I'm doing a little bit of adjusting on my screen here, but I just want to mention that there are a lot of different ways how you can create buttons and components in Figma. There is no real right or wrong way. Some people might say that there is a standard way you should do it, and if you're working on a team, they might do things a little bit differently, but this works for me, and it's been a pretty simplistic process. So starting with hover, we already designed the default button state, but for hover, you're simply just going to give it a darker color. You'll notice that I'm also changing the font color to white because it's pretty difficult for people with vision impairments to read black text on a green background, whether if it's a dark green or medium green in this case. So you do want to be mindful of that when you are designing for accessible experiences. For the active, I'm just going to give it a 2-pixel border to indicate that the button was selected. For the disable button state, I'll reduce the opacity to 50% to indicate to a user that the button cannot be clicked due to some sort of action or field not being completed. Loading is actually fairly similar to default, but I will drag over a spinning icon that I have in my assets library. And last but not least, for the focus state, which is similar to active, I'm going to again add a 2-pixel border for people using the tab on a keyboard. Sometimes people with screen readers use that also, and that indicates the current button to be interacted with. And for this, I will give it the color blue. And that is it. That is how I design button states in Figma.